not too much like a lecturer. Thank you for joining us here today. Some of you from as far away as Singapore, I understand. Singapore, Bangkok, Delhi are included among your places of residence. So I would like to thank you for taking the trouble to come all the way to Naypyidaw. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to get to know all of you. Of course, some of you I already know, very familiar faces, but some are new. And it will be good for us to learn from one another, and I'm sure you are interested in what we might have in mind, our new government might have in mind with regard to foreign policy. As we all know, our country stands at the meeting point of South Asia and Southeast Asia. And with China in the north, we can claim to touch the Far East as well. In such a unique position, obviously, there are many challenges, which we hope to turn into opportunities for fostering peace, prosperity, and friendship, not just throughout our region, but throughout the world. Since we became independent in 1948, we have adopted a policy of neutrality and universal friendship. We were one of the first signatories to the United Nations Charter and to the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, which means that we've always placed emphasis on the need for international cooperation and on the need to respect human beings everywhere. Because friendship and peace are dependent on the security and happiness of all peoples in the world. This has always been our aim, that our country should be the grounds for fostering better relations, not just between our neighbors and ourselves, but between us and the rest of the world, and between all other countries as well. I suppose what might be known in some circles as, or I was, a foreign service brat, which is to say that I spent some years with my mother when she was ambassador to India. And in that way, I learned much about what life means in a diplomatic community and how important personal relations are. That personal relations can lead to better relations between nations. And I'm sure all of you here, as seasoned diplomats, are not only aware of this, but practicing it very, very enthusiastically in this country to create better relations between us and your country, between our peoples and your peoples, and between each other. We are not a big or very powerful country, but we hope that we will be able to lead the world when it comes to approaching all the problems that beset our globe with sincerity, with goodwill towards all, and with a genuine desire to work hard to achieve the kind of situation of which all human beings dream, but which we very seldom manage to achieve. It is always good to have goals. Even if these goals seem sometimes unattainable, I think it is a basic necessity that we should aim high. We have a saying in Burmese which means effectively that if you aim very, very high, you may get to somewhere in the middle. So you have to try very hard to get somewhere, anywhere. I don't think you achieve anything for nothing. By the way, I think I'd better clear this business of Burma and Myanmar right here, because there are some members of the diplomatic corps who don't know quite which term to use. So it is up to you, because there's nothing in the constitution of our country that says that we must use any term in particular. I use Burma very often because I'm used to using it, but it does not mean that I require other people to do that as well. And I'll make an effort to say Myanmar from time to time so you all feel comfortable. This is what diplomacy, I think, is all about. We have to learn to accommodate each other. We have to be aware of other people's problems, and we have to think as much about resolving others' problems as about resolving our own. A foreign policy that is based only on getting our own way is not much of a policy. We want to get our own way, of course, but we hope that we can get our friends to help us to get our own way willingly and out of friendship and out of the conviction that what we are asking for is not unreasonable. We are trying to build up our country as a strong nation, strong because of the strength of the people. We look upon our people as our greatest strength. Economic development, social development can come only if the people are actively involved in building up our nation. We cannot do it on our own. When I say we, the government cannot do it on our own without the cooperation of the people. We put great emphasis on people-to-people engagement. The best relationship between countries can be fostered only by the peoples of the country. But of course, diplomats have much to do to make sure that our peoples get to know one another in the right way and learn to appreciate the differences. This is what diplomacy is about. It's about making differences come together to become a harmonious whole. I don't want to say creating unity out of diversity, but